flour, because the outer protein hull has been removed, and so it's now a very simple starch that will affect your metabolism and digestion. So we're talking about whole grains. We're talking about brown rice, millet, quinoa, which looks like quinoa, but it's pronounced quinoa, oats, barley, whole grain pasta. And I brought some out of my pantry. Whole grain pasta. This is made with green pea flour, black bean pasta, and actually red lentil pasta. So whole grain pastas, and tabbouleh. If you like Middle Eastern food, you may be familiar with tabbouleh or bulgur, wild rice, which I have here, wild rice, barley, and what else do I have? One here. Farro, which I don't have. What is not whole grain would be multigrain, stone ground, 100% wheat, cracked wheat, 7-grain and bran. Those are not considered whole grain. What you can also have is spices, herbs, vinegars, Bragg's vinegar or balsamic vinegar, which I didn't bring out, salsa, mustard, Bragg's aminos if you don't want to have regular soy sauce because of the salt content, nutritional yeast. Now, if you choose to eat animal products, that would be just 20%. So you really want to eat a healthier form of those products, because they feed animals hormones to make them get bigger faster so they can bring them to slaughter faster. They also feed them antibiotics because antibiotics fight disease, but also they have found that antibiotics will make the animal grow bigger faster, and also so they can get it to slaughter quicker. So if you want to eat animal products, it's best to have pasture-raised, organic, free-range eggs, free-range chicken, pasture-raised eggs, organic dairy, grass-fed bison or buffalo, which is like beef, but a much leaner kind of beef, pasture-raised, grass-fed beef or lamb, wild-caught fish and seafood. And I also have to remind you, or not even make you aware, some of you may or may not know that they're now talking about the microplastics in our oceans. So when people are throwing away the water bottles, the force of the waves are breaking down those bottles, everything that's plastic that we just throw away. And they're so tiny that even small shrimp are eating them as food, and it's being found in fish and seafood. So you should be aware and make the right choice for you. What is not included? What is not included are processed foods made from sugar, wheat, or animals. So processed sugar would be table sugar, soda, juice, sweet tea, sugary cereal. And then another red flag, sugar has been found to halt your immune response. So now as we're walking around with COVID trying to stay healthy, the last thing anybody wants to do is leave themselves with their immune system inactive because we decided to have a glass of juice. So be aware that it will slow or stop your immune system for about 2 hours because it's dealing with that sugar. Processed grains, the white rice we talked about, white pasta, white bread, bagels, rolls, biscuits, donuts, pastries, Danish pies, cakes, cookies, pizza dough. Processed animals would be like hot dogs, lunch meat, deli meat, spam, sausage, jerky, sweeteners like Equal, Splenda, Sweet and Low, and then of course fast food, the French fries, the chicken nuggets, the chicken tenders, and the tenderloins, and also dry roasted nuts because they are also processed. And I want to just touch on a protein myth. Oats, whole grain pasta, beans, lentils, vegetables, and fruit all provide some form of protein. So choosing this diet or this lifestyle will not leave you protein starved. You'll have enough protein. And the other is an expense myth. When you are on a plant-based diet, you can eat lentils and grains, and those can be purchased in bulk. But I didn't bring my big bag. You can get a big bag of lentils or beans, even in the supermarket, the 2 pound bags of the variety of different beans. Some of those are, less than $1, and you can cook that up. And also when you buy fruits and vegetables in season, they're less expensive. So buying summertime fruit in the middle of winter, it's going to be more expensive. So the apples, the pears, the winter fruits are going to be less expensive at this time of year. The other thing that you might find interesting if you wanted to explore this is there are 2 companies. One is called Imperfect Foods, and the other is called Misfit Market. And they sell organic food and fruits and vegetables. They deliver it to your home. I have used Misfits Market. And it comes in a box and it has the little ice packs and the insulation, and it's very abundant. You can get a large size that feeds a family of 3 or 4, and I think it's 25 pounds, and the other is about 15 pounds, and it can come weekly, or you can put it on pause, but they're inexpensive or less expensive because they don't meet the standard size of food. So an apple, a supermarket has to have a certain size. They all have to be uniform. So if this apple is a little smaller, this one is a little bigger, your red pepper is not totally red. I got one that was red and green mixed together. They can't sell that. They won't sell that in the supermarket. They're not damaged. They're not bruised. They're not defective. They are not the standard color, size, shape that you need to sell in a supermarket. The other is that it's inconvenient. If you choose to, you would have to cook. Most of these things are done at home. There are restaurants where you can order certain things that will make your life, if you are a restaurant goer. But there are other alternatives, like I brought kelp noodles. And then there's a company called Leafside, and they do, you order they send you 22 different meals. And this one is a broccoli with a cashew Alfredo sauce. And you just add hot water. They do sweet bowls with chocolate and berries. They have soups. They have a smoky pea soup. You can read all the ingredients. You know what everything is. You don't have to go to a dictionary to figure anything out. They list everything. All you need is a cup and a half of boiling water, and they also do smoothies. Another one is Mama Says. They do a also a delivery, but the food is prepared and you keep it in the refrigerator, and some of it is dry and some of it you need to refrigerate. And if you're in the DC area, I think she may have expanded, is a company called rubyredsvegan.com. Um, so those are foods. Okay. So now I want to talk about um, blood pressure, because we talked about the whole food plant-based diet decreasing your risk of inflammation, decreasing your risk of cancer, stroke, and boosting your immune system. I have a note on obesity, and I don't want to start with high blood pressure. I want to start with obesity because there's a direct relationship between obesity and inflammation. And I'm not talking about the obesity that you see someone looks heavy and they're obese. That is also can also contribute to diet, but I'm talking about what's called visceral obesity. That is when there's fat that covers our organs, fat that covers your heart, your liver, your kidneys. And when you have that much fat, which is not normal, it causes an environment in your body that moves you towards inflammation. And inflammation is what we're all fighting. It is a condition that promotes disease. It promotes injury. And there are two types of inflammation. There's an acute inflammation. So if you cut your finger and it swells, or if you bang your elbow or get your something slammed in the door, it swells and it hurts, you get a sore throat. That's acute inflammation. That's on the spot, a response. And that response is to protect you because your immune system is protecting damaged tissue. It's preventing an infection. It's stopping invasion from virus and bacteria. It's fighting off a cold if you've gotten it. So that's acute inflammation. The problem is chronic inflammation. That is like a low level inflammation that is going on constantly. And it's the chronic inflammation that gets our body to develop these diseases and puts us at risk. And I wanted to talk about, so then let's talk about weight loss. And I'm going to talk about a concept called density. When you think about a cup of water, if you have a cup with water, and then you have another identical cup, but it has, say, molasses or honey, that cup with molasses is going to be heavier because it's denser. It has more density. So that's a very brief description of density. So I want to talk about the fact that there's something called caloric density. So when you have a salad and you're about to eat it and you're ready and you're like, oh, I want to put a little oil on it. You'd put a tablespoon of olive oil on there. Well, that 1 tablespoon of olive oil has 100 calories. And when you compare 100 calories, you could also look at 2 cups of blackberries. So 1 tablespoon of oil is 100 calories, but so is 2 cups of blackberries. So the oil would be calorically dense because it's a small amount, but high calories, whereas the blackberries would be nutritionally dense with a low calorie density. So you got a lot more nutrition, but low calories. Whereas the oil, high calories, not that much nutrition. So another example would be 240 calories of carrots versus 240 calories of soda. You could drink that 240 calories in less than a minute, and guess what? You'll be thirsty and you'll be hungry. To eat that 240 calories of carrots, that is approximately 2.5 hours of chewing to eat that many carrots. But think about the nutrition. Granted, nobody wants to sit around eating, except for Bugs Bunny, 240 calories worth of carrots. But the idea is for you to see that a calorie is not a calorie. A little bit of soda, 240 calories, you sip it and you're done, or 2.5 hours of eating carrots. So, but they're equally 240 calories. So that brings us to why when you're on a whole food plant-based diet, you can eat until you are full. You can eat until you are satisfied because these foods are high in nutritional density, but low in caloric density. So you can see by these pictures what the differences would be. So you can eat so much more food at 1,870 calories versus the burger, fries, and shake with the equal number of calories. And eventually you would be eating till you're completely satisfied. So that will give you a pictorial idea of what I mean by caloric density versus nutritional density. And that's why you can eat until you're full. So there was a study in Hawaii where they gave people their traditional foods of plants, fruits, whole grains, and beans, as opposed to the diet that we now know that they eat because of colonization. And on their traditional Hawaiian diet, the average weight loss was 17 pounds in 21 days. The number of calories that they ate decreased by 40%. And they ate an additional 4 pounds per day and still lost weight. So that's another example of how this particular way of eating will allow you to eat, be full, be satisfied, and still maintain a healthy weight or lose weight. I want to talk about high blood pressure. Because I'm going to give you two case studies. So the definition of blood pressure is, if you think of water running through your pipes, your kitchen pipes, it's the pressure that's exerted on the pipes as the blood is rushing through the arteries and veins, as the blood pressure. So the normal, or the ideal, the goal blood pressure would be 119 as the top number over 79 or less. So the upper limit of normal for blood pressure would be 119 on the upper number, and then you have the slash. That would be the systolic blood pressure, is the top number, and the bottom is the diastolic number. That would be 79. Elevated blood pressure would be 120 over to 129 over 80. And then hypertension begins when your systolic is 130 to 139 over 79 or less, or your diastolic, the lower number, is in a range of 80 to 89. Based on what I was reading for this talk, there is an ideal blood pressure, and that is 115 over 75. And at that blood pressure, the risk of death from heart attack and stroke is near zero. Just keep that, just some information. And now another study in California with the Seventh-day Adventists, they did a study of 89,000 people, and they found those people who ate meat one time a week had 23% lower rates of high blood pressure. Those who cut out meat and just ate fish, they had 38% lower rates of hypertension or high blood pressure. Those who cut out meat and fish but ate eggs and dairy, and those would be considered ovo-lacto-vegetarians, they had half the rate. And those who cut out meat, fish, eggs, and dairy had 75% lower rate and risk of hypertension. So the animal products do play a part in contributing to high blood pressure, in addition to stress, which none of us are dealing with here in America in 2021, in addition to weight, and in addition to the viscosity of the blood. When you're eating meat products, your blood is a little bit thicker, so your pressure has to be higher to move that blood through. And also, when you're eating a plant-based diet, you have more potassium, which will bring your blood pressure down, and your blood won't be so thick, so that also brings your pressure down. In terms of type 2 diabetes, that is associated with an increased risk of several cancers, including liver, pancreatic, colorectal, endometrial, breast, and bladder cancer. And a whole food plant-based diet decreases the risk of diabetes itself by 40%.
Dr. Adrienne, you have 2 minutes.
Oh no, wait. Okay, so a normal, I will go to my case study. This one is of Eric Adams, who is the Brooklyn Borough president. And I'll just read, it's from his book. Eric Adams remembers waking up 56 as the new Brooklyn borough president, blinking to try to see. He was suddenly nearly blind in one eye and completely blind in the other. Rushing to the doctor, he was told that his blood glucose level was 17. Now, the blood glucose level they're talking about is hemoglobin A1C, which is coating of sugar of your red blood cells when your blood sugar is out of control. Normal would be 5.6. A non-diabetic's number would be 5.6. His was 17, 3 times higher than normal, and that he was told he had full-blown diabetes. He went to 5 different doctors. They all said he needed insulin, and diabetes was hereditary, and the tingling in his hands and feet signaled permanent nerve damage due to the diabetes, and that his vision would not improve. But he wanted to try a lifestyle change before signing up for permanent insulin injections. To their credit, 2 of the 5 doctors were willing to work with him, and even though they thought it was a long shot. So he Googled reversing diabetes and found Forks Over Knives and Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn at the Cleveland Clinic. He read Forks Over Knives, got rid of all the oil, flour, cakes, cookies, chips. The first 7 days, he says he missed sugar and salt. And then he started looking at recipes. He learned how to mix balsamic vinegar with lemons and fry onions without oil and other kind of tricks and hacks. And within 3 weeks, his vision cleared up. Within 3 months, his hemoglobin A1C that was 17 dropped to 5.7. The tingling in his hands and feet disappeared. His blood pressure was normal, and so was his cholesterol. I'll leave you with that.
Thank you, Dr. Adrienne. That is such a powerful story with the being blind to not being blind anymore. It's amazing.
Oh my God.
So next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. Her name is Trishana Holman, and she came in and basically changed everything for us. She is a nutritionist with the Adventist Health System and is also a health evangelist. She has a bachelor from Northern Caribbean University in dietetics and nutrition, and a master's degree from Oakwood University. She is the director of healthcare ministries at Metropolitan Seventh-day Adventist Church. She is very passionate about health education and how nutrition affects spirituality and mental health. Tonight, she will be doing a cooking demonstration, which I'm sure everybody's super excited to see. I saw her layout, and it's amazing. And educate us on plant-based eating while speaking on the potential health benefits. And she wanted me to add that she has Jamaican roots. So with that, I'd love for you to get started. Trishana.
Hi, everyone. How are you doing? Good night. I have a welcome song. So let's give thanks and praise. So I'm welcoming you to dinner tonight. We are the NAACP tonight, and so I want you to hear my little song. All right, guess who's coming to dinner? Hi, this is Susanna, and we're coming to you from Maryland. I'm so excited. I'm happy to be a part of this experience, and it could not have worked out to be a better evening to talk about plant-based diets. Unfortunately, we are in a pandemic, and as you already know, you're aware that African Americans are disproportionately affected by COVID and other non-communicable and communicable diseases. So, as Dr. Adrian really said, that nutrition goes a far way. Let me read a quote to you. And this quote is taken from a book called Diet and Foods, Chapter 4. It says, grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. These foods are prepared in simple and natural manner as possible. When they are, number one, what will happen for you when you try this lifestyle or you're practicing this lifestyle? Number one, they impart strength. They impart strength. Number two, they impart power of endurance. And number three, they will enhance the vigor of your intellect. Okay? Now, we can see from different research and a multitude of persons who have changed their diet to a plant-based diet, they can attest to the fact that yes, you will be strengthened, you will be quickened, and of course, it will benefit you in a healthy way. All right, so I know you're excited. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. Tonight, you will see an array of some of the foods or some of the food group example that was discussed in the presentation ahead of me. Now, I'm going to turn your attention to the American Dietetic Association. The American Dietetic Association has a My Plate. They have a plate for persons who eat meat, but they do have a plate for persons who want to switch to a meatless diet. So thanks for my assistant, my niece Kiki. She is working the home cam for us, right? So you will see on your screen shortly the My Plate. And this plate is a vegan My Plate. So I want to bring your attention to that. Awesome. And as I bring your attention to that, I will point out what I have. I have some sample food samples here for you tonight. I will point to my table so you can see what we have. So, fruits. On the plate, you will see that we have fruits, and we know what fruits are. We're going to hasten on because of time. We have banana, we have orange, we have melon. Those are all fruits. So on my plate, if you are considering a plant-based diet, this is what your plate should look like. All right. A quarter of your plate or your diet should have fruits. Then at the next quarter, you see grains. These are the different grains or the British, I'm from a British colony, so we talk about legumes, okay? So we have different types of legumes and grains. I have today lentils for you to show you a pack of lentils. So lentils would come underneath grains. What do we get from our fruits? Let me backtrack. Of course, the vitamins and all the necessary antioxidants that is necessary to fight off the cancer cells and stuff, right? So in my hand, this is lentils. From our grains, we will get a lot of iron, and also we will get a lot of the B vitamins. Okay, so that is important to know. Next, we are going to go down and look at protein. A lot of persons are concerned and they always say, oh, I don't want to try a vegetarian diet because I'm not going to get any protein. A lot of persons are big on protein. You do not have to drink milk or eat cheese or have dairy for you to get proteins. Our Creator made our bodies wonderfully, and He knew what we needed. So he provided them in our primary source, which is protein. How do we get protein? On my table here, I have almond. Almond is very, very high in protein. And I was going to blend up some almond for you tonight to show you that you can make your own almond milk at home. But with the capitalistic society that we're in, I had to just grab some fast items, okay? So our almond, very high in protein, and chickpeas. I had a can of chickpeas, looks like it disappeared. However, chickpeas is high in protein. Then we have peanuts. Peanut is also considered a legume and is high in protein. And we have tofu. And our first dish tonight is going to be about tofu, right? So the tofu is high in protein. And of course, we have to have at least 5 to 6 servings of vegetables daily. In whatever format, each meal should represent what you're seeing on your screen. And let me backtrack, the almond milk. Some persons may take coconut milk. Tonight we're having a Caribbean vegetarian vibe going on. So coconut milk, you have your calcium, and that works. And broccoli is very, very high in calcium. All right, so I needed to get that out of the way. Number 2, you may be saying, well, this looks good, you can afford it, but maybe I can't. And I was expecting a bigger stimulus check, right? You may consider switching. But a vegetarian lifestyle or a plant-based lifestyle, it is not expensive. I went shopping today and I did not spend more than $100 for all that you see on the table. And this food will take you for the week. All right. So when you shop and you go to the supermarket, consider going. They always say when you go to the supermarket, turn to your right, because usually the right side, as you go through the door, that's where you have the produce section. All right. And just like how you see your plate, you should shop in that way. Prepare your meals ahead of time, so the convenience will be there for you to just put a meal together quickly. All right. So we can have a plant-based lifestyle on a budget that is not expensive, as long as you have each component of what is on your plate. Okay. Moving right along. So another question I always hear is, can I get everything from my plant-based lifestyle? We have to substitute iron, B12, vitamin D. It is key that you make sure that you have these supplements. On my table here, I have a lot of different supplements that you can buy whichever health food store. I shop at Living Well, I shop at Safeway, I shop at Wegmans. Wherever you get your supply, ensure that along with your plant-based lifestyle, you are getting supplements, because our earth is so depleted, we do not get everything in one single meal. All right. Switching to a plant-based lifestyle is good, but you have to be balanced, and you have to ensure that the foods that you combine are balanced to get sufficient nutrition. So do not eat quinoa all day and then expect you're going to have a balanced nutrition. Let me dare say that it would be better for you to stick to meat rather than have a poor plant-based diet to say you are a vegetarian and a vegan. All right. So let's get right to it. I know you're excited. Tonight we have some Afro-Caribbean recipe combination. And I just want to take you quickly through breakfast to dinner. Okay. Because a lot of time persons like, oh, I'm on the go, I can't prepare my meal in a timely manner. Vegetarian lifestyle is going to take time. I would try it, but No. So we're going to do some simple dishes tonight. A lot of my stuff are pre-prepared, so let's get right to it. So first up for breakfast, we will, I'm just heating up the stove. So we will have tofu. So this is mashed tofu. This is mashed tofu. And I kind of drained the tofu. This is firm tofu. So you just take it out of the package. And I have a tablespoon of turmeric. Turmeric is very, very delicious. And it also is known to help if you have stomach issues, okay? So I'm putting in a little turmeric in here because we are going to make scrambled eggs. Yes, tofu, you can have scrambled eggs. If you mash up your tofu, add a little black pepper and salt to that. And I have on the stove coconut oil, 100% virgin pressed coconut oil. And that is what we're using today. Or if you prefer to work with their olive oil, you can feel free to go ahead and do so. All right. So I feel somebody saying, no, so does vegan use oil? Yes, you need that because you need your all your omega oils, and that is good for your brain power and everything. So we're going to add the turmeric with our black pepper and our tofu. The only thing I'm sad about tonight is that you're not here to really enjoy this, but I know Kiki will enjoy it for you, okay? So let me show you what's going on here. Sorry, Dr. Adrian. So I want to show you in my pot what's going on here. So this is tofu that looks like scrambled eggs. So you don't even have to miss eggs out of your diet, okay? And this is simple, delicious. It's not hard to prepare and can be ready in minutes. If you want to add your little tomatoes or sweet peppers, feel free to do so, all right? And this is a way to get the kids in the kitchen cooking with you. Because children are very curious and you want to build that curiosity. This vegetarian or plant-based lifestyle is not only for adults, it's for the entire family, all right? So you can have your scrambled eggs. You can have your scrambled eggs, and this is avocado. Of course, a lot of persons like avocado. You can have 2 slices of avocado. You get healthy fats from your avocado, and you have toast. So this is simple, ready to go, and it is delicious. There you go. That's a close-up shot for you. All right. So that is a breakfast item for you that is easy and on the go. Now, you may say, what about lunch? The kids are at home, it's a pandemic. And for plant-based lifestyle, you can whip up something quickly for lunch. It is cold, it's winter time, and so I went ahead and I prepared soup. So you can see, Dr. Adrian, I did do callaloo. So this is callaloo soup. Let me just record, just tell you what the ingredients are. This is so delicious. Of course, I use vegetable stock as the base for this soup. I added callaloo and I added some kidney beans. Yes, because remember I told you that your plate should reflect legumes, your protein, fruits and vegetables. So in this, I have callaloo, kidney beans, corn, and you can buy the mixed packet of the soup mix from the store and add to this. And of course, a little Scotch bonnet pepper because, hey, I'm a Jamaican and I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so I believe in delicious, healthy vegan food, and we must have some spice to our life, right? All right, so that's a quick way to have your lunch and soup. Now, what about the kiddos? I have here I have here.
You're muted.
Thank you, Kiana. Yes, Trishana, you're muted. Can you hear me? Trishana, you're muted.
You're still muted. There.
Okay.
Yes.
So my sound just went. I'm sorry about that. You did not miss anything. I was about to tell you that the same scrambled tofu that you used earlier, you can use it to make a quick wrap. So the wrap I bought at the store, this is a spinach wrap, and then I'm going to add the scrambled egg tofu. And here I have tomato, and I'm going to add to that lettuce. All right. Okay. And this is enjoyable. Involve your kids in the process of transition with you if you're considering or if you already are on a plant-based lifestyle. So I'm just going to wrap it over. You wrap inward from the sides. And there you go. Perfect. You have a nice little lunch and the kids will enjoy this and they can make this for themselves. All right. Healthy, balanced, and nutritious. Now, for the big and main event. So a lot of persons like, oh, I am going to miss my meat. Well, did you know that you can still eat curry goat? For those of you out there who you're worried about your curry goat, yes, I am going to demonstrate to you that you can have vegan curry goat. Yeah, you may say, what? Yes, vegan curry goat. What is in that? Because we are pressed for time, I'm just going to quickly show you how to put it together. And I have a finished product that I will share with you. So let's get started. So in a bowl, you will add 1.5 cup of cooked lentils. So this is dark cooked lentils, all right? So you add to your bowl your lentils. And then you would want to smash this with a fork. You can use a fork or a potato masher if you like. And you would mash that up really, really well. Okay? Then I have here wheat gluten flour, and I'm going to add that. And you can add any flour of your choice. I know we have a lot of options now. We have almond flour. I see coconut flour on the market. Whatever your choice is, okay? To season this, we are going to add 2 tablespoons of the nutritional yeast, 2 tablespoons of that. And this is just a seasoning to bring taste and flavor. Not because you're on a plant-based diet doesn't mean it has to be dull, doesn't mean it has to be boring. You can add spice. And that is why I chose this vegan curry goat, for you to know that you can add spice to your life when you are on a plant-based diet. So now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, or if you prefer to use your fresh garlic, and a tablespoon of all-purpose powder seasoning. And these are all organic. What's the difference between organic and non-organic? Organic, it doesn't have any additives. You get it fresh, straight from the farm. There are no additives to and organic. And nowadays people are using that word so loosely. All right. So organic does not have any additives. So we will mix this up quite nicely. And it smells really good in here. I'm telling you, next time I hope COVID goes away so we can be live together. All right. Then I am going to add a little vegetable stock. You can have vegetable stock or water. It's up to you, right? So we can have water or vegetable stock. And then you just mix this in like you're making a dough. So you add 1.5 cup of water, but I would say add little at a time because you do not want to make it too wet, okay? So you would mix that all up. All right, and it will come together. Then let me put that aside because I have what it would look like. So you would place it on your clean surface, your kneading area. And of course you would knead it in because it would come together and make a dough. This is your curry goat right here. This is your goat meat, vegan meat, okay? Then you cut it up, just like how you cut up your meat or your goat, you just slice it. All right. See, you get a nice texture inside. There you go. See? All right. So we are going to slice up our goat, our vegan goat right here. And then you can slice it in small pieces because when it goes into the pot with the heat and the additional liquid that we're going to add, then it's going to expand. All right. So you cut this up in pieces.
Trishana, you have 2 minutes.
Pardon me?
You have 2 minutes.
Okay, so that's what that would look like. So let me put it away and let's just rush to the end. So this is what this looks like. Your vegan curried goat, and it is delicious. So we have sweet peppers. I have a little potato. We have as a side, remember our plate, we need veggies. So I have broccoli, cauliflower, and some quinoa and brown rice. And of course, you know, we love plantains as African Americans and Caribbean people. So that's what I have for you tonight. No. In my 2 minutes, I have to show you that vegan vegetarian lifestyle, you can have a nice dessert. So I mixed here, there's a coconut raspberry, it's a dairy alternative. It's dairy free, it's organic. And you just mix that yogurt with some blueberries and strawberries and have it cold and you are good to go. So I know we need more time. I know we have to get into this in another segment, another time, but I was excited to be here. I just want to thank you for joining in tonight. And hey, know that when you are on a plant-based diet, you are living the life. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Roshana. That was awesome. I'm going to just share my screen very quickly and remind everybody that we are giving away. I hope I'm sharing the right screen. Am I sharing the right screen? Can you see the picture? Ageless Vegan? Okay. Yeah. I hope I'm sharing the right screen. So you can go ahead and join today and before this meeting ends, and we will pick a winner if you join our Howard County NAACP chapter. And again, we are going to, we have our health committee survey. If you would go ahead and fill that out, that would be awesome. And because a lot of the people have just joined, I want to just remind you that we're doing our MLK virtual 5K today. Not today, but starting January 10th through 18th. And also, we are going to have our next health committee event on reasonable accommodations with Rosemary Rhodes. So I just wanted to throw that out there. we'll add some things to the chat so that you can save that. Let me stop sharing. So thank you guys so much again. Let's go ahead and start taking questions. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll ask questions. But I wanted to start with Dr. Adrian. Is there a relationship between food and mental health? Are you there?
Muted.
Sure, she's muted. All right. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay, there it is. All right. Why does I have a thing that says
We
the
can see
host
you.
has spotlighted your video?
Yep, she did. So everybody can see you.
Okay. So yes, there is a connection between food and mental health. It's called the gut-brain axis. Axis, like President Bush used to talk about the axis of evil, but this is an axis. So it is a connection between the gut and the brain, and it's like a telephone, a two-way communication between your brain and your gut. There are actually, when we're developing as fetuses, some of the cells of the gut and the brain are close together. So when you say, oh, I have that gut feeling, or something doesn't sit right in my stomach, that's because there are actually some brain cells in your gut. The other thing that you need to know is that some of these cells actually protect the gut and from a leaky gut, some of the contents of the gut, the nutrients leaking out of the gut and then becoming deficient in different nutrients. But the most important thing is that there's also something called the gut microbiome, or it's also called the just gut bacteria. And when you are eating a plant-based diet, that bacteria breaks down and sends off some of the beginning chemicals that work on our mood, like tryptophan becomes serotonin, which works on mood and diet and satiety. So when you are eating foods that basically have no nutrition, that are basically dead, your gut microbiome does not communicate well with the brain. And those chemicals that are the precursors of hormones and neurotransmitters are not adequately made, and sometimes people end up with depression, and then they supplement the things that you would make in your gut through medications like serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or SSRIs, that people have heard of. So there is a direct relationship, and they have also found an association. They haven't said that it's a cause, but there's an association between anxiety and gut issues. They found an association between autism and gut issues. So they haven't figured out what caused it or what comes first, but there is an association. But I did look up some information for you from PCRM, which is the Physician Committee for Responsible Medicine. And it's how to increase good gut bacteria. Number one, fill up on fiber. High fiber foods feed the healthy bacteria that improve your immune function, reduce inflammation and chronic disease, and even help regulate mood. Pick prebiotic rich foods. So those are the foods before you get to probiotic that your gut feeds on and makes chemicals after they break down the prebiotics that we can use. And so prebiotics feed the healthy bacteria. Good sources of prebiotics include Jerusalem artichokes, chicory root, raw dandelion greens, leeks, onions, garlic, asparagus, spinach, beans, bananas, oats. Try probiotic foods. Those are fermented foods like sauerkraut, but I'm not talking about the sauerkraut on the shelf that's been dead and on the shelf for the last 5 years. I'm talking about the sauerkraut that's in the refrigerator, the refrigerated section, because it has active cultures, active bacteria that feed your gut. So along with the sauerkraut, we're talking about kimchi. So if you like really spicy food, kimchi is great. Miso is great. If you have had Asian food, Japanese food, you've had miso soup, that is also very good. And miso you don't cook, you add the warm water to the miso, otherwise you kill off the bacteria. And there was a study back in Hiroshima. I don't remember which book I read many years ago. I read this book, and they talked about when they had the bomb go off, the people that were eating regular miso had less radiation sickness. Miso, tempeh, kimchi, and kefir. Number 4, avoid animal products. Red meat, high fat dairy products like ice cream and fried foods all reduce the growth of healthy bacteria and enhance the growth of bad bacteria that's linked to chronic disease. Limit the fats. Avoid fried foods. Saute with cooking spray or broth instead of oil. And make low-fat dressings. Well, it actually said use low-fat dressings, but if you go to the store, you know, that's full of sugar and we're moving away from that. So it's best to make like a balsamic vinaigrette. And it says, especially if you have diabetes or pre-diabetes, and most plant foods are naturally low in fat, which we discussed. Avoid unnecessary antibiotics. Overuse of antibiotics kill healthy bacteria. Antibiotics are great. They kill the disease caused by bacteria. Antibiotics are horrible because they kill the great bacteria that you need to live. It kills everything without discrimination. And that's why sometimes when people have an illness and they have to take antibiotics, we usually say, take it with some probiotics, take it with some Activia or some, what's the other one? Activia. There's another yogurt with probiotics, or take a probiotic.
I think it's proactive.
Yes, but to use some sort of probiotic to help the gut so that you don't have GI, gastrointestinal upset. And also practice a healthy lifestyle. There was a study that showed that
Dr. Adrian, I do want to get to other people's questions as well. We had another question in the chat about your preference for non-GMO foods, or to eat. Is it okay to have GMO or non-GMO foods? What are the differences and what is your preference?
My preference is non-GMO foods because we have a very strong food lobby. And so I don't know that there's been any research. I haven't seen any research on what exactly it does. So I would counsel to just avoid the GMO foods. The problem is a lot of times they don't label what's GMO, especially with something like corn, which is virtually in every food we eat in some form or fashion. It's going to be GMO.
Yes. So for me, I found out that everything that is organic, labeled organic, is already non-GMO. So it's not genetically modified.
Mhm.
So definitely I've been doing that because the genetically modified foods, we just don't know how it's really reacting with our bodies long-term yet because there's not enough research done. And like she said, you know, they're basically changing the genetics of these plants so that they are, you know, resistant to pesticides, resistant to different things. So and so we want to make sure that I like to, like, I don't know if you want to, but I like to make sure that I'm eating pesticide-free food that is also not genetically modified. And how I do that is by buying organic. Trishana, did you have anything to add to that?
Are you on mute?
Yeah, try and stay off of mute so that we can all talk.
Okay.
Um,
So I was just having some of 'cause this is actually my dinner tonight, so I was actually
Fair.
eating.
he's over there eating.
Not fair.
You have the address. But to answer your question, anything that is modified, for example, some years ago they had bread and they took out all the important nutrients from bread and left us just with flour. Then they added a little bit of calcium and they start adding back stuff. Just as an example. So I have a whole wheat grain bread here, and you can tell the difference between a 100% bread with grains and everything in it. Now, to answer the question directly, it's like you going to the doctor and saying, okay, take out my kidneys, they're not important, and give me an artificial one. Why would you want to remove the important nutrients from your food and substitute it with something else? The best choice or the better option would be non-GMO foods. Keep it real, keep it simple, keep it
Awesome.
healthy.
Awesome. So this next question had to do with tofu and estrogen in men. So I think that it's linked to the myth that drinking soy milk and eating tofu, eating soybeans will basically make men grow breasts. And so if you guys have any information on that, I already know it's a myth and it's not true because the guy that happened to is drinking 2 cartons of milk every day, soy milk, I mean, every day. So don't drink that much soy milk and you should be fine. But did you guys want to add anything else to that?
Just quickly, there are a lot of controversy in because one time they were saying coconut milk is not good. Another time, no, you have research coming out to say coconut milk was good. We have to bear in mind that there is an agenda that, let me be politically correct. The powers that be would prefer to see us run to the doctor regularly. And you have these big corporations such as dairy, with the milk industry, a lot of different persons put out research or finance research to show favoritism to their product or their initiative that they're promoting. Okay? We have these naturals. See, I have kale, I have lettuce, I have thyme, different examples. This is from the earth. This is living. Why would I want to substitute something that's living for something that's dead and fleshy? For example, milk. Milk does not contribute to you in any way. That's for the cow, okay? So soy milk is fine, milk is fine, almond milk is fine, and nobody's going to grow breasts if they're a man.
Dr. Adrian, would you like to add anything, especially about how soy can affect estrogen? Because I know that in women and in men, I know that people are saying that could be linked to breast cancer, and then some people are saying that it could not be linked to breast cancer. So what do you know?
I know. Am I on? Am I
I can
muted?
hear you.
Okay. It is controversial between physicians whether to have soy products or not. Um, I don't sit on one fence or the other because I haven't seen a weight or preponderance of evidence to point me one way or the other, but I will say that I love oat milk.
That's right.
It tastes better than milk. Um,
So let me go ahead and ask the last question that we have. And I've never even heard of this before. We have about 2 minutes left that we can take questions before we go into our prize giving round. Actually, let's make it 1 minute. So calcium in coconut milk, is it derived from animal products?
No. So I'll just take that one quickly. Whatever is plant-based stays plant-based. So if a product is coconut, which is a vegetable, I have coconut oil here, and I have a can of coconut milk here. You do not, this is not an animal product. Okay, this is from the coconut, the nut. So that has nothing to do with animal protein or calcium coming from an animal source.
Okay.
The same thing as with butter. We have a lot of persons say, oh, non-cholesterol, non-cholesterol. Well, cholesterol is only produced in the liver, and therefore only an animal source you can get cholesterol from. So if you have your vegetable products, you will not have anything cholesterol in it. So the same thing for the coconut milk.
Okay, so we wanted to give away prizes to people that were paying attention during the presentation. And our first question, I'm not sure, did we go over the dirty dozen and the clean?
no, I didn't have.
Oh, we can't ask that question. Okay, Dr. Adrian, go ahead and ask a question to and put your answers in the chat, and the first person to put the right answer in the chat will win a prize. And the prize will be by any greens necessary by Tracy McCorder. That book.
By any greens?
Oh wait, no, actually it'll be your prize.
Oh,
Go ahead
okay.
and tell them what your prize is.
My prize is a coaching session, a health strategy session for anyone in the audience who answers my question that I didn't know that I was going to have to ask. Can you name 2 things that a plant-based diet put me on the spot, Keisha?
I'm sorry, I know it. Okay. Name 2 things that a plant-based, oh no, actually I don't know it. I thought it had to do with the 2 types of vegetables that can be
I didn't get to go. I didn't get
to that.
to talk about the vegetables that keep you from getting cancer.
Okay, Trishana, do you have a question?
I'm ready to go. So my question is, if you are in our audience tonight, and I know you've been listening wonderfully, could you tell me what is on the My Plate? The My Plate. Remember when I started, I showed you the vegan My Plate as presented by the American Dietetic Association, and these are their recommendations. So you should have the My Plate. I want all the different food groups that are on the My Plate. Let's go.
I think iPhone got it. Fruits, grains, protein, and veggie.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Exciting. So your prize is going to be, I have a little for you to make your smoothie maker. It's not a NutriBullet, but it's similar to a NutriBullet. So we will get your information and then we will mail that out to you. Thank you so much.
Dana Dana C will text you to give you the winner. She will text the winner. I actually named the wrong winner. So Dana will text the winner and let them know how they can get their prize. We're gonna need your information to mail it to you.
Oh,
All right, and
I have questions. I came up with one.
okay, here we go.
All right. Can anybody here remember the two types of density that I talked about? We spent a little bit of time on that.
We have, can you tell me what the answer was? I think it's Ian. I think Ian got it.
Does someone have both kinds? I see
nutritional and caloric, and I think those are it.
Yes, that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. So great job, Ian. Email the health committee. And Dana will tell who to email for the first prize, your email address, your address, and phone number. So thank you so much.
Keisha, what was that answer again?
Nutritional and caloric.
And that was density.
Density. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. Everybody, that's my dad. So that came up. So let me think. Is there anything else I wanted to do?
One thing I think the first person that I see at 8:25 with that question was Kim Aquamina with grain, fruit, veggie protein.
Okay. Let me text her. Actually, Dana, will you text Kim? All right, next. I think that is going to conclude our presentation. Did you guys want to have one final thought before we go?
I do, very much so. I would like to offer anyone who is interested in the titles of some of the books that I use as resources to email me with book list and my email address. Keisha, can you put my email address in there, please?
Yes.
And just put a book list, and I will send you a list of great books. And that's number one. And number two, as I said, I'm a board certified physician and working with people as a health strategist to come up with a plan for anyone who is has a family history of diabetes or is predisposed to diabetes because of weight or other issues. We come up with a plan to decrease your risk. So anyone who is interested, please reach out to me by email with health strategist, and we can schedule a conversation and see what we can do together.
Great. And Trishana, would you like to say anything?
Finally, my brethren, I wish above all else that you will prosper for 2021 and beyond and be in good health. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's a great way to end. So thank you all for participating.
Can you send her the veggie goat recipe? Can that be?
Yeah, we're going to have to get these recipes. If you registered on Eventbrite, we're going to be emailing you a lot of resources and a link to this video when I get it edited. So it'll be fine. And I also you can save chats. So you can also save a chat. So if you click on the ellipsis and click save chat, it should work as well. I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and say bye. We'll see you at our next event.
Thank you. Be well.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keisha.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, everyone.